Coach, you led the ACC in scoring last year, averaging more than 85 points a game, and I suspect you would have liked to have scored more. What does it take offensively and defensively to play at your tempo, especially since many of your opponents won games in the 60s and 70s? And can this year's team push the tempo that old Roy would like?
Bob, it is hard. The young guys, they come in and, boy, Coach, I really want to run, and they get there and they find out it's a lot harder to do it than it is say they want to do it. But for us, we do like to play at a fast pace. I've never had a team play at the pace as fast as I want them to. This year's team, one thing that I've emphasized to them so far is that last year could have been our best three-point shooting team ever with Cam and Luke and Kenny, Kobe. Those guys are gone, so we've got to be a little better on the defensive end of the floor, a little better on the backboards, a little better at defending around the rim, scoring around the rim. But the biggest thing is we've got to run and make sure we can score some in the open court. So for us, it's get the ball in the point guard's hands and him to push it as fast as he can and get our big guys. And so far in practice, Armando and Walker and definitely Garrison as big guys have really run the floor nicely for us, and we've got to keep doing that. So you've got to emphasize it every day so we can see if we can get the game at our pace as opposed to somebody else's pace.
Our next two questions will come from the right side in the first row.
James Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Coach, just what you can say about the makeup of this year's team, 4 freshmen coming in, 2 grad transfers, just what they bring to the mix of what you already have and what you've seen so far.
It's been a hard preseason. We've had 8 practices, and we've only had the most we've had is 11 guys that have been able to do the whole practice because we've got all the aches and pains and some very serious injuries that we're trying to get over. So it's been difficult to see so far. Garrison and B-Rock have been 2 of our best players, and they're 2 of our most experienced players. They're trying to drag the other guys along with them. Colton has been a guy that wins almost every sprint, won the 12-minute run. One day we had maybe the toughest conditioning test, and he finished, made all his times, and guys had to make up 5 times, and he ran that with them and won those 2. So he's gotten their respect by doing the little things, the tough things. But those 3 guys have so far been the leaders of our team, and now we've got to get Andrew Playtech healthy. We've got to get Christian and Justin out there on a full-time basis and knowing what we're doing. For us, it's got to be getting healthy is one of the biggest things. But these 2 guys up here with me have done the best job so far, for sure.
Again, we're staying on the right in the first row.
Brian Oliver, Raycon Sports. Questions for Garrison and Brandon. Can you talk about what your preparation was over the summer, knowing that you have to have a different mentality, being more go-to guys than role players from last year?
Me personally, I would say the biggest thing for me would be just leading by example and trying to be on time and work as hard as I possibly can just to show other guys that you have to work the same way I'm going to work to kind of like step up to my level.
For me, it was definitely the little things. Coach always preaches about the little things, and definitely, like Garrison said, leading by example. And me always trying to get in extra work in the weight room, trying to get guys to come with me in the weight room and get extra work in, and getting in before practice, after practice, getting extra work in with the coaches. So just always preparing and just leading by example was my biggest thing.
We're going to go to our left, the gentleman with the red notebook. There we go. Thank you.
I see it.
Lamont Thomas, Legacy Maker Sports. I got a chance to ask Garrison. I wanted to ask Robinson and Coach as well. How much of you guys' competitions in practice getting to you guys' philosophy as far as competing and as far as trying to win everything, whether it's every little drill, every one-on-one? How's that been helping you guys' chemistry thus far?
I think everything we do in practice is about competing. It's nothing that we do that is like you lose and you just move on. If we have a drill in practice, at the end of practice, you're going to run for it if you lose. And I think from the weight room to the classroom, everybody in our program knows that we compete. So we compete trying to get better grades with each other, compete trying to lift heavier weight than each other. So Coach is a big competitor. He always jokes around about how him and Coach Rob compete about little things, how like he pulls his keys out before Coach Rob to open up the door. So I think everybody in our program has a competitive nature.
All right, he's already answered.
Did you need anything from me?
if you have it, he says.
No, I think B-Rob's right. Everything we do is competitive, and at the end of the day, you win, you don't run. If you lose, you do run. The game is competitive, but I also think life is competitive. So we compete in everything we do, and everything there's a consequence. If you lose, you don't get the rewards. If you do get the rewards.
We're going to go to the right. Gentleman in the hat getting ready to raise his hand. There we go.
Brian Keys, Carolina Connection. For Coach Williams, at the start of the season, taking out the guys you said that wouldn't be ready, so Anthony, Jeremiah, and Sterling, how do you see the rotation shaping up so far?
Really haven't. There's been 6 or 7 guys that stand out because of their experience or their play, and that's been Cole, B-Rob, Christian, Justin, Garrison, and Armando. So those guys have been on the white team just about every day. Walker really does some good things, and Andrew's been hurt a little bit. Those 2 guys really put in a lot of work too, so they're going to get some reps as soon as they get healthy. In Andrew's case, as soon as he gets healthy enough. But we still, from Sunday, it was October 6th. We play on November 6th, so we still have a month to worry about that part.
Back to Bob Holliday, second row on the left.
Question for the players, watching some of Cole's games in high school, he has a unique ability to attack the basket. Sometimes he shoots, a lot of times he dishes. So Brandon, as a jump shooter, how does that help you when he dishes to you beyond the line, and especially Garrison inside? How does that change your life as a post player to possibly get a Cole Anthony pass?
So me personally, I would just say, just seeing him dish all the time in high school, it just helps me to kind of get prepared, like to get a ball, even if he passes it, to kind of make him look good for those flashy passes he has.
I think one thing we preach about in pre-practice with Coach Rob is always being shot ready. So that's something that I've been working on a lot, always being shot ready when Cole has the ball, because the pass can come to you at any time. So always be shot ready and always expect the pass to come to you when he has it.
And Bob, I think these will be the 2 that I think have most benefited from Cole's ability to pass. I would think Garrison's got more lob dunks in the first 8 practices than he did maybe all year last year. So they're aware of his passing ability. And B-Rob is always shot ready. Brian, don't you laugh. I remember when you played, boy. I remember that too.
Back to the right in the first row with Dan.
This is for Garrison and Brandon. Just what you can say about your leadership roles elevating through the process. We see that in North Carolina every single year. Somebody moves on, or within a couple of years, and it's who's going to step up next. But there's always those guys that have gotten time. Just what you can say about the experience you've had and what it does leadership-wise for you now.
So me personally, it's been like a learning experience since we had Luke, Kenny, and Cam leave campus. So I think that they was kind of instilled the things that are important, being on time, working very hard, and learning how to talk to everyone. And like me and B-Rod just kind of like keep going with what they've already taught us, and kind of like mentioning what we know want to do, and what we've learned as leaders, as like hearing them.
Each and every year since I've been here, it's been different type of leadership styles. And I think as the years go on, you see these different leadership styles change based on the team that we have. And I think me and Garrison leadership styles are different from Kenny, Luke, and Cam, just because based on the team that we have, having new guys come around. So like you said, we're taking the things that we saw them preach to us, and we're preaching to the new guys that we have here. We're still trying to do it in our own way and be ourselves.
Coach, from the podium, you were needling your players just a few minutes ago. Have you always had that type of rapport with your kids over the years? And if not, did you find at a point in your career in which it was comfortable for you to give as much as they gave?
It feels very comfortable, yes. It's something I enjoy, kidding guys. I enjoy pushing guys. I got to be able to take it a little bit along with that. But I've always said I was fortunate enough to help recruit and help coach Michael Jordan, and the only thing he ever did better than play was talk. And he used that to his advantage. And so, you have to be careful, because there is a fine line that you can go over when you're needling someone. I'll use your word there. I do try to push guys, and sometimes I'll make it humorous, but they also know there's a point to it. But I don't mind taking it a little bit as well. It's okay.
Back to Bob Holliday, second row left.
Coach, the last 3 years you've led the ACC in rebounding. 2 of those years, Luke May had a lot to do with it. I think you'd agree he's arguably one of the better defensive rebounders in school history. Where are those 10 rebounds a game that he got going to come from, especially on the defensive end?
These 2 guys up here, they're up here for a reason, but Garrison is rebounding the ball even better. B-Rob's understanding we want him to go to the boards. Again, I'll say Armando and Huff and Walker and Sterling when he gets back are going to understand it too. But I think rebounding is the most important factor of the game. I really do. You get the ball and I get the ball. You get the ball and I get the ball. The only way to break that is if I get an offensive rebound and don't allow you get an offensive rebound, then that means I've got one more possession. And so I think that that's something we preach a lot and emphasize a lot, so I hope we do it well.
We're going to go to the third row on the right side, and she's going to raise her hand. There she is.
Coach, speaking from Media Day, one of your newer players, I can't remember who it was, but he said that you always mention Coach Smith. How important is it to keep Coach Smith's legacy even breathing through you and keep his name throughout the kingdom and to newer players?
Yeah, the guys that I have on my team right now never saw Coach Smith coach a game live. And I made that statement. My wife said some of the guys that you're coaching right now weren't even born when you started coaching at North Carolina, much less at Kansas. But I do think he's the greatest coach there ever was. People say, well, your numbers are as good or whatever. But when I talk about he's the greatest coach there ever was, because I thought he did it on the court. But as much as I try to keep relationships and keep aware of former players, current players, and what they're doing personally and everything, I'm not as good as Coach Smith. So I want to set them a high standard. I mean, I enjoy calling Garrison a couple of weeks ago. The fact that I'm a fan. So I go to the drugstore, CVS in Concord, and there's a basketball magazine, and his mug's on the front. So I called him just to tell his mom to don't buy that down in Alabama. Wait and get up here and buy it up here. It's got his picture on the cover, but that's not the effect that Coach Smith had on guys. But I do like to know that there's a tremendous relationship off the court, and Coach Smith was the best there ever was at that.
And I think that's a soundbite we can end on. North Carolina, thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Folks, we appreciate you attending this year's Operation Basketball. If you have